Good afternoon. It's Sunday, June 23rd. We're just beginning Cancer season. We're coming out of a full moon. This third day is when we start to really go into that waning side of it. So, what do we do in Cancer season? And knowing that we have a second Capricorn full moon on just 4 weeks from today. So, how does that make us all feel? So, if you are Aries, Cancer, Libra, or Capricorn, then you're in the catbird seat because these initiating active energies, where Cancer and Capricorn are about responsibility, Aries and Libra tend to be move on, let's get it going. Libra might be a little bit more deliberating, but if they're in the right zone and environment, there can be a lot of energy going on regarding how we do what it is that we do. And so, where we are, so as we look at this chart, we can see that this full moon just a couple of days ago is spanning the first and seventh houses. So it has a lot to do with our relationship. Hello, Libra. But I will want to talk more a little bit about the aspect of where we're going with on Saturday, June 29th, with Saturn going retrograde in Pisces, and how that affects us Capricorn and Aquarian and Pisces, which are impact signs. Sag, Cap, Aquarius, and Pisces are all about the transpersonal dimension. And with Saturn going into retrograde into about mid November, what ends up happening is that Mr. Pragmatist is stopping to get us to understand how to integrate more mysticism, more forgiveness, more understanding that you are your brothers and your sisters and the other person's keeper. And so, as we pause and breathe and recognize how everything is interconnected, then Saturn says, well, let's stop and understand that. How does that work in practice? Well, it means taking a breath. It means understanding also that since last March of 2023, we have been kind of swimming in these waters of how we integrate larger, more mystical pictures of interconnectedness. And if we want to get really lofty, we can talk about moving from the Pisces age of where we need a priest, a rabbi, a shaman, someone to be an intercessor, to the Aquarian age, where we start to recognize it's our responsibility to decide where we're carrying our own water, our own emotionality, and containing our water, containing our fire in order to understand how to live and let live. Is it life or death? If not, then why don't we pause and Aquarius it? Let's agree upon what we know to be true internally, in our families, in our relationships, in our communities, in our tribes, in our squads, and then we can have those discussions without, determining my way or the highway. We build a consensus based on freedom. And that's more the Aquarian age of I know, of I'm an adult, I'm a human. And with this Saturn retrograde in Pisces, we've got the Sun and Venus and Mercury. So our radiance, our equilibrium love principle, and the way we think and process information in Cancer, familiar tribal Cancer. So how do we consider, whom do we consider our family? And then we've got ingenious mentor Athena in Scorpio water as well. So strategic strategy around choosing battles along with the Saturn and Neptune. So the water is on lockdown. We got some Earth energy. Jupiter is extremely important because he is the traditional ruler of Pisces. And with this being in another human sign, Gemini, let's discuss. Let's be able, let's think about morality, amorality, immorality. Let's get into understanding things from not going into the judgmental, what are my beliefs versus your beliefs, but let's pause and understand the roots of why we believe what it is that we believe. And then 3 days later, we get, Neptune retrograde in Pisces. And he's just stronger because he rules or is connected. He gets a lot of his source energy from nebulous. We are the world. We're all connected. Let's blur the boundaries. Uh, and you can count on Neptune, that sense of divine discontent that you may have, that we all have had since 2012, since he went into Pisces. And as he makes this transition from Pisces is innocence after being kicked out of the mythical Garden of Eden, after we've been betrayed, after we've trusted either a higher, deeper power or a relationship that we thought would never end, or just a relationship with our own self and our own belief systems that we were taught, that have left us disillusioned and disappointed. But understand Neptune in Pisces is sort of like the sand in the oyster that ends up becoming the pearl. So the more that we have discontent, the more grit, the more that we end up creating these pearls of wisdom. And with this being at the very last degree of Pisces, he's saying, hey, look back 12 years, look back to 2012 and understand he has a 14-year cycle. So 2024, 25, and 26 is where he shifts from Pisces into new beginning Aries. And so we have an excellent opportunity to use what we've learned, what we've gleaned, those paths not taken or those paths we've imagined in what our raw material calls the ideal playground. We can do that and with minimal resistance, hopefully no resistance from our egos, that we just imagine those whole ideal states. And with both of those energies, when he goes retrograde on Tuesday, July 2nd, Neptune and Saturn in the eighth house of mysteries can suggest make thy will my will, being able to trust the mysteries of our transformations, of our death and rebirth, where snakes hit themselves on something, their heads on something hard to break the skin. When I just learned eagles, at some point in about 40 years, they break their beaks and they pull their talons out, and then they live another 30 or 40 years. So both of those animal spirits are connected to the transformative sign of Scorpio. And we really don't get the true feeling body understanding of Pisces without having to confront our own shadow and our internal conflicts in Scorpio. So we can't surrender or make thy will, make a larger, inclusive will our own until we know where we're still resistant on an ego level to unity and to connecting with others. And so that leads us to the new moon in uh, Cancer, which is on July 5th. And the new moon in Cancer also falls in the eighth house in Kansas City. So we got a lot of work that we're doing on the humility, the regeneration of our egos, of allowing ourselves to pause and reflect upon all of our attachments. And this new moon also has Venus there because she's, just at her Venus star, or her Cassini, as some people put it, on June the 4th. And so she's traveling in the sign of Cancer through, another couple weeks in July. And realize that what this means for all of us is recognizing that turtle, that snail, that nautilus, all of those energies that carry their homes with them. And again, Jupiter is so keenly important at this time period in our cosmology because he is associated with Pisces. He's said to be exalted in Cancer, and then he just lightens Scorpio the fuck up. So there is this larger picture that Jupiter brings that gives us this ability to zoom out and say, well, what are our shared philosophies? What are our shared belief systems? And so this new moon can be central for us to recognize how we are all family. And yes, that's a Sister Sledge illusion. My favorite song by them is Thinking of You, by the way. Although We Are Family is definitely their biggest hit. But just notice that with Saturn 180 degrees away from commitment oriented Juno and Virgo, that suggests this Neptune in Pisces is bringing in the balance, the integrative point of how we can see seeds of ourselves and others and committing to, submitting to, surrendering to the shared ideals of the relationship. And then we have, let me throw the football, offensive Mars, 180 degrees from defensive or strategic Palace Athene. So we have this beautiful mystical triangle in Virgo, Scorpio, Pisces, and Taurus, honoring our security along with just this grand sextile when we throw in Ceres and the stuff in Cancer. So the fact that we have all of the yin security driven signs with this new moon in Cancer activated, it's about how do we seek security? What brings us security? You know, imagine if we didn't have to consider our bank accounts or or as Richard Rudd talks about, taking nano pills for food instead of, having to do the stuff we need to do to just feed ourselves. And today is Sunday, so what would it be like if we just had a Sunday consciousness? Sure, we might not drive that well, or we might have to take longer to get to where we need to go. But where I'm going with this is that as we cusp from the Pisces age, the I believe age, to the I know age. And the I know age of Aquarius does not mean that we lose our hearts because ages, are both signs. So it's the Aquarius Leo age. So it's the heart intelligence of Leo. It's the fuzzy, warm and fuzzies, which Neptune is all about. And with, teacher Saturn in mystical Pisces, we are all learning and have been since March of 2023 how to make pragmatic decisions integrating our mystical, warm and fuzzy, we are the world feeling. So it's a both and, but if it's a, equilibrium point, choose heart. Choose to look within for your security and realize, as we say in our raw material, no one dies from hurt feelings. You're going to hurt other people's feelings, and your feelings are going to be hurt. It's about how you process and take responsibility for those wounds, imagined and actual. This is Quan out, and I appreciate you listening.